for how long would this evil keep going? Go everywhere in Nigeria, people are dying. Terrorists are killing people. Did Nnamdi Kanu kill anyone? The answer is no. So what is he doing in detention? It's an act of evil. Attack against Nnamdi Kanu is an attack against the Igbos and innocent people of this country. What Nnamdi Kanu is facing is persecution and prosecution. He has said this repeatedly. You cannot try a man without a written law. He has only simply asked the judge and the prosecution team to provide him with that section of the law that says you can try him. You cannot try a man under a repealed law. That would not work. It looks as if there is a grand conspiracy to jail Nnamdi Kanu. How can you jail a man who has done nothing? How can you jail a man that he don't have any evidence to present before the court? It's a conspiracy. It looks as if there is a war between Igbos and Yorubas. Bear in mind that this very problem was inherited by President Nnamdi Kanu. They shouldn't make us look as if we're unapproachable. I reserve so many things, but the days and weeks to come by will determine the exact direction we have to follow. But I want to make this clear to each and every one of you. Nnamdi Kanu is not a terrorist, and they have done nothing to prove that he's a terrorist. Since 2016, this case began. From pillar to post, this same very situation was what killed my parents. In 2017, they could not survive the trauma of Operation Attendance. What is he asking for? Justice and equity. That's what he stands for. It's not against anybody in particular. Nnamdi Kanu has come to court today to make it clear to the court that he has told the judge that he has no constitutional power to try him. I've been issued the court lacks jurisdiction. Even from the Supreme Court, they made a mess of this case by remitting the same case back to Federal High Court. That is called double jeopardy law. You cannot try a man who has been discharged and still refer the same case back to back to Federal High Court. What for? If they had brought in new charges, perhaps you understand.
But how would you explain the outburst in court?
It's a natural thing to happen because a motor show is not willing to listen, is not willing to obey the Constitution, is not willing to obey the Supreme Court orders. So what is Nnamdi Kanu doing in court in the first place?
But you and I know that Justice Omoyele has given Nnamdi Kanu several periods to open his defense. And today he's opening his defense.
No, he did not. He came to there for ruling. And you know, let me make this clear to you, by cross-examining those witnesses that came to court, he's opened his defense. So Nnamdi Kanu should be allowed to go for his final written address. And the very judge does not want to allow him to do that. In the interest of fairness, he should allow him to do so. He said he's proceeding to go and rule. That's what he said today.
But the judge said that in other proceedings that happened before, Nnamdi Kanu said the same thing. He said someone lawyer. And he's still saying the same thing. That is the ruling of the judge.
But Muslim has the final right for his is that correct?
But this I don't want to be confrontational.
Yeah.
But this same issue has been raised in the past.
And when you have heard of issues in front of you, what do you do? What do you do? They phrase the issues the way they want to phrase it. If they are to go by the constitution of this country, Nnamdi Kanu wouldn't even be in jail in the first place. But you need to understand. I think you and I have followed this case from the beginning up until now. Tell me one single evidence to convict Nnamdi Kanu. Everything is based on hearsay. Nnamdi Kanu made a broadcast in London which was monitored in Nigeria. Specific place they cannot identify it. Then they moved from that charge and said he made broadcasts somewhere around the world. Where is it in the world which was monitored in Nigeria? They couldn't establish that. Now, a few days ago, the prosecution came back and said, oh, you made a broadcast in Nigeria. Where is it made exactly? He must have to tell the court. but they are unable to provide all these information because they don't have it. Also bear in mind that the witnesses they're showcasing court, they are missionaries. They are missionaries. And that is why we have filed for perjury today at the Mexican court. So for how long would this evil keep going? Go everywhere in Nigeria, people are dying. Terrorists are killing people. Did Nnamdi Kanu kill anyone? The answer is no. So what is he doing in detention? It's an act of evil. Attack against Nnamdi Kanu is an attack against the Igbos and innocent people of this country. Those who believe in fairness and equity should rise up now, not tomorrow. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We just heard from the father of Nnamdi Kanu, that's the president of Nnamdi Kanu.
What would you know about Madam,
I mean, anybody in Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's shoes will have done an outpost.
Come on, your mic,
Of course he is. I mean, what else can he do? What else can he say? If he is not allowed to exercise his fundamental human right, what else? You try to protest in the best way or in any way you can. I mean, I've witnessed these proceedings on 2 occasions, and I am so disappointed. And in fact, Nigeria should arrive because I think we are at war with the judiciary. Not just Nnamdi Kanu's case. If you look at the judgments and counter-judgments of the judiciary, I mean, it's alarming. It's destroying this country. Remember.
Let me George is saying that some of these issues that Nnamdi Kanu has been raised and has been addressed. George is saying that Nnamdi Kanu was given ample time to defend, which is declined severally. That is the position of the judge. What do you make of it?
Now, the point is that not that he declined. He opened his defense by examining the witnesses. But what he's saying is that he has nothing to defend because even the law at which they are trying him does not exist. That they are trying him on a repealed law. So there's nothing to defend there. Not that, I mean, in cases where he has to do something in terms of defending himself, like cross-examining the witnesses, he did. But when you now ask somebody to defend something that does not exist, he will tell you that there is nothing to defend there. I think that is the message Nnamdi Kanu is trying to pass. The point is that for the judiciary, they felt they have a right as a judge because the final say lies on the table of the judge. So you can say whatever you like. That's what is happening now. And that is what we've been witnessing in this country for some time now. Okay, the judges are abusing their rights. The judiciary is abusing the law itself. You can't make a law and go against your law. Now, you use one judgment for a particular person and use another. You are messing the judicial system. So that's what Nnamdi Kanu is protesting because it's like he is helpless. So the only thing he can, what he's saying, allow me move my final address. That it is his right. That's the outburst. Because when they say there's an outburst, what is the outburst? The outburst is that allow me, it is my fundamental human right. It is my fundamental human right that I move my final address. That is the outburst. And the judge is saying no. Now, what Nnamdi Kanu is trying to say is that the fact that you are a judge does not give you the right to go against the law that puts you there. The judges, even though you are a judge and in any court you sit, you have the final say. But something gave you the power to have that final say. You cannot go against the law that gave you the power to sit in the court and pass judgment. So that's the outpost. That's what Nnamdi Kanu is challenging right now.
Is this a tribal issue? Because Kanu's brother is saying the Yorubas are against the Igbo. Are you supporting?
Exactly. In fact, I made mention it in court. It's like the Yoruba nation and the Igbo nation are at war with each other. If you look at what is happening, you look at a government that will engage terrorists, the original terrorists that have killed before, and they say that they are now repentant. I mean, terrorists that will come out in broad daylight and claim responsibility for deaths, and they say they have forgiven them. Now, to worsen the whole thing, they say they have rehabilitated them and poured them into the Nigerian military. And how can the insecurity stop? Now, Nnamdi Kanu, go and listen to all the broadcasts of Nnamdi Kanu from 2014 till now. Everything that young man said is happening now. It's like they have a pre-information of what is going to happen, and they were just giving it out. Now, what is the charges, the terrorism charges that are carrying out against Nnamdi Kanu? Kanu told people, number one, during the NSAS, when the militaries were shooting at people at toll gates, he said, defend yourself. He is not the first person that has said something like that. So the terrorism, he is a terrorist because he said, people, if the militaries are shooting at you, find a way and defend yourself and kill them too. That is the basis of the terrorism. Now, but people that have carried out terrorism, killed, okay, like the general that was killed, somebody have taken responsibility. IPOP have never taken responsibility for any crime. In fact, what they keep saying is that we are not responsible. Nigerian security, do your job. In fact, they went as far as, in order to blackmail IPOP, did you know that the federal government engaged a Muslim jihadist in the person of Asede Kibo to go and guide Southeast? Did you know that the federal they broke a jail in Imo State, carried all the criminals, handed them over to Asede Kibo? He recruited them and poured them in Imo State. Did you know that the Bubago outfit is the outfit that the federal government used to carry out jihad in Imo State? And now what they were doing is that when they caged the media in Imo State, because when I confronted the media, why don't you report what is happening? They said they are caged, that they will only wait until the police release their report. It is based on the police report that they will write their own report. They caged it. They will perpetrate this act. The next thing you will hear is IPOP. Now, who are these IPOP? You say IPOP. IPOP say it is not us. Why don't you take time and investigate? It never happened. Do you know that in the East today, if anybody killed, they don't carry out investigation? So all they did is to do that to set Nnamdi Kanu up to kill him. Let me tell you, Nnamdi Kanu is only one man after Ochuku that Igbos are rallying around, have seen as a leader. So they don't want that to happen. And, well, we don't know what they plan to do, but we are watching. We know what they want to do.
Thank you so much. Your name, ma?
My name is Lolo Nneka Chimeze. I'm the president of Igbo Women Assembly.
Thank you.
We want you to react to the outburst of Kanu today in court and how he was ordered to be thrown out.
Well, we have made it very clear that this trial in the first place was unnecessary. Nigeria is wasting its time on a trial that will take Nigeria nowhere, particularly at the time Nigeria is facing serious security challenges. That's what we should be focusing on. is how to retrieve the body of the brigadier general that was killed, if they have not. It is how to save the 35 Muslim girls that were abducted from a high school, 25 of them. It has to save 35 Christians who were attacked and abducted live. And that's what Nigeria should concern itself with. Not a flimsy, frivolous trial to jail somebody whose only crime is asking for justice, in my view. I was watching part of it because I was in court for a different matter. And when they were describing the evidence they have, I was expecting them to say that they found him with an RPG. No. The only evidence they found in his room was a microphone. And then the biggest weapon was a radio transmitter. I have never heard that before, that the country will waste 10 years to prosecute somebody whose only weapon is a radio transmitter and a microphone. They also found underwear. The rest is hearsay, including they presented, by the way, an interview from Sahara reporters. Should anybody be jailed for being interviewed by Sahara reporters? They kept mentioning it. Interview Sahara reporters. Interview Sahara reporters. So, if someone did an interview with CNN now, does that mean the person should be jailed? And I'm aware that they are still reading the judgment. Laboriously, you could tell that the judge is struggling. Laboriously. I'm just hoping that between the time they present the case and the time the judgment will be delivered, that common sense will prevail. And Kanu will be allowed to rejoin his family. And Nigeria, hopefully, will start facing its real challenges, of which Nnamdi Kanu is not one of them. Thank you very much.
So, Kanu's brothers have alleged that the Yorubas actually hate the Igbos with what happened in court.
There's always excuse. And the Nigerian state manufactures hatred of ethnic groups against themselves. But ask yourself, was it a Yoruba man that, was it an Igbo man that jailed Awolowo? It was a Yoruba man. Abi? When I was arrested by DSS in 2019, all the guys who came to abduct me, one of them was Ijo, another one was speaking Yoruba. The fact that you speak Yoruba doesn't mean you are Yoruba. But all the guys that were in charge of my detention, they were Yoruba people. So when they want to use you against yourselves, it is then that I start telling you the judge is Yoruba, this thing. But when it comes to stealing Nigeria's money and wealth, sharing among themselves, there is no religion, there is no tribe. But when it is to pitch yourself against yourselves, of course, you might say that the preponderance of commentary is coming mostly from some of the Yorubas. But that doesn't mean that the Yorubas are in support of injustice. Even if you look at the history of the Yorubas, politically, they have never supported one political person wholeheartedly. There was Awolowo, there was Akintola, there was Ajasin, there was Omoboriowo, there was Abiola, and some Yorubas didn't support him. Yorubas have always been, just as Igbos are. It's not every Igbo person today that supports even the agitation for Biafra. Does that mean that those people are not Igbos? It's not every Hausa person today that supports blasphemy convictions against some people who are, or even though they are Muslims. So don't let anybody use that to divide you. The person who is president of Nigeria today is a Yoruba man whose only campaign buzzword is Emilokon, is my turn. He didn't say that it's the turn of the Yorubas. And go and ask Yorubas under this regime what they are going through. That is what the Yorubas call Enikon Loba. Now the person where you touch, now they feel am, is different from Emilokon. So you cannot be blaming, because before you know it, now Yorubas will start killing Igbos. Igbo will be killing Yorubas again, based on the misconception that the innocent, hungry Yoruba person is somehow or somewhat complicit in the nonsense that is happening against an Igbo man who is fighting for justice. Let's be careful about that, not to create that ethnic division any further. That's how they got us here.
So how do you foresee a breakdown of law and order, especially in the southeast after this judgment?
There's a breakdown of law and order in Nigeria already. Any country where a brigadier general can be abducted and killed, even when he fought himself, cannot be rescued, there's a breakdown of law and order. You see, there are two places to find order in the world. I mean, beyond. They said there's order in heaven and there's order in hell. The difference is that the first order and the first law in heaven is order. The last law in hell is order. Nigeria has become hell where the last law is order. So there's no breakdown or law of law and order that can happen. But I know them. They can go and manufacture another breakdown of law and order. Even those of us who were peacefully protesting in this Abuja for Nnamdi Kanu, they claimed that we wanted to burn down the country. I spent 4 days in Kuje prison just because I said free Nnamdi Kanu. When I went to Lagos after that, they declared me wanted for fighting for Yoruba people whose houses they are demolishing. So when they create a narrative for you to fall for, be careful, so that you won't start killing and fighting the same poor people. Some of them don't even know about this trial because they are hustling to get food on their table maybe once or twice a day. So that is why I keep saying that the country needs a revolution. I don't have any doubt about it. Thank you.